Today in this video we're going to be talking about Jaden Moody, who was a boy who was killed, who was groomed into drug dealing, and he was killed by it's, he's a hard one to describe. A bunch of I guess savages. I'll call them barbarians maybe. He was killed in a drugs turf war after being groomed by drug dealers. Let's talk about this one properly. So, a boy who was butchered in a drugs turf war after being groomed by drug dealers had been arrested in a crack den months early, but police did not contact child exploitation staff, a report has found. And so this is a an article about the missed chances that agencies had in order to help this kid out and other kids like him, essentially, because there'll be other kids that have been failed by the system. So Jaden Moody was a 14-year-old who was when he was knocked off his moped and stabbed to death in East London in January 2019. A serious case review found chances to protect him were missed by agencies. So we'll get to this kid Ayub. I can't pronounce his second name. Who was jailed in murder, but we know it might not just be him. It could be other people. I'm not sure. But Jaden's family said they agreed with many findings of the report. The family lawyer, Alice Hardy, said the report showed Jaden was failed by the system. Jaden was both homeless and out of school at the time of his murder, both of which could have been prevented, she said. So the report shows that there was no effective system in place to respond and help children at risk from exploitation through county lines. And so this is the key problem here. When there's a problem that goes through various counties, police forces often operate within a set area. And so you'd have Northamptonshire Police Force operate within, Northampton and Northamptonshire. You wouldn't have the Met operating in here. So if there's a problem with a kid going from London to Northampton, that it's very unlikely that the Met Police would go and chase it. They would either contact the Northampton Police or they wouldn't do anything. I believe that's how it works. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments below. So 3 months before his death, Jaden was found with an older boy in a flat in Bournemouth. So it's very far from his home, known to be used by county lines drug gangs with 39 wraps of cocaine, packets of cocaine, a mobile phone, and 325 £325 in cash. According to the review, the appropriate adult who sat in on his police interview said he appeared to be a vulnerable young person, frightened by what he was being groomed and coerced into by others. He gave the impression that he definitely wanted to find a way out of the mess he was getting into. A 14-year-old kid gave this impression. So this is a kid who he's treated as a minor by the law, and rightfully so. And so look, I don't want to see anyone blaming him for what happened. That's what I'm trying to say. Following his release, 2 Dorset police officers drove him to his home in London, but did not involve specialist child exploitation workers. I don't know why they didn't do that. A spokesman for the force said it liaised and worked with the family and social services in Waltham Forest and Dorset to find a better solution to returning Jaden home. The most viable solution at the time was for Dorset police to safely escort him back to his home, he said. In the 12 months to August 2019, Dorset police found 36 children from London in Bournemouth in similar circumstances to Jaden. Jaden's school in Waltham Forest was not told about the arrest but excluded him for a separate incident. And so you can see that, there's a real problem here because Bournemouth police did not chase this up and did not tell anyone who, child services or whoever is meant to be dealing with this. They never told anyone. They just took him home. And I don't know if that's standard procedure, but surely the police should have told somebody what was going on, not just take him home like we had here. And so they told, social services, liaise with workers of the family and social services in Waltham Forest and Dorset to find a better solution to returning Jaden home. And so they didn't really chase this one up that much. And if the Bournemouth police thinking this kid lives in London, this is a problem for the Met Police or wherever. Clearly they're mistaken. So at the time of his death, Jaden was living with his grandmother in Leighton. So that's in London, I believe. Yeah, it's in London. Okay. My geography is not very good. His mother, Jada Bailey, had been sleeping on friend's sofas while she waited to be rehoused. She had told officers she was trying to keep her son out of trouble and was keen to find somewhere for them to live in Waltham Forest, she said. She was allocated a flat 2 weeks before Jaden was stabbed to death. The review found Miss Bailey and Jaden's housing needs could have been handled in a timely manner, especially as his vulnerability to exploitation became clear. And so what is clear is that his mum was moving around the country trying to find him more stability in order to help him purely because he had been kicked out of school for bullying. And so he had his own issues. And fair enough, the school excluded him for, you know, causing problems, but at the same time, no one actually bothered to dig into what his problems were and why he was bullying people and things like that. Jaden's father, Julian Moody, had been convicted of drug dealing in 2009 and deported to Jamaica last year when Jaden was a young boy. He began getting into trouble after starting secondary school in Nottingham. So I think they moved from London to Nottingham in so he got in trouble in 2015. He ran away from home, was accused of bullying, and Miss Bailey was threatened at knife point when someone came looking for Jaden. The report said Jaden had only spent 22 months. 3 of his last 22 months in school. So you can see there's a real problem here with him not even being in education and him not being looked after properly. In November 2019, he's excluded from school in Waltham Forest after he was seen in a Snapchat video in his school uniform holding what appeared to be a gun. Jaden pleaded guilty in court to possession of an imitation firearm in a public place. By the end of December, Jaden had been offered a place at a Pew Football referral unit and had committed social workers and youth offending workers trying to help him. But tragically, none of these people were provided with that opportunity, the report concluded. So, before they could actually even help him, he was killed. The review was led by John Drew, the former chief executive of Justice Youth Board in England and Wales. Mr. Drew highlighted poor communications between Waltham Forest Council Social Services, Dorset and the Met Police. So here, Mr. Drew is talking about how there's not enough working together by these agencies. And so he called for a national system of responding to exploitation of children by County Lines Gang, saying that every area needs a rescue and response system to protect young people. Mr. Drew concluded that no one knew how little time there was to change Jaden's thinking. And so Jaden's death could not have been anticipated, the report found. And so they didn't think that this would happen. But at the same time, given the fact that he's dealing drugs in a place like London, it shouldn't be a huge surprise, because if you get caught dealing drugs on someone else's area, they will kill you, no hesitation. Jaden's death could not have been anticipated based on what was known about his life at the time. So while it's clear that Jaden was not protected either by the council or his partners, or by any other person from the ultimate danger that engulfed him, I do not find any major fault in response to his circumstances. Leader of the Waltham Forest, Claire Coghill, said, called the report an excellent piece of work. The council has taken on board all the recommendations. There's no link to the report here, which is a shame. While no specific recommendations have been made for the Met Police, we continue to work closely with Waltham Forest Safeguarding Children Board to ensure that we are protecting children in the best way possible. So we can see that perhaps the National Crime Agency needs to have some sort of division in it which ties in all these agencies together, or if there is such an organisation that is above individual police forces, that has to happen, because this kid was failed because none of these agencies actually bothered to talk to each other. And so here we have a picture of the guy, the actual killer, Ayub, and I think he might be Turkish. I'm not 100% sure where he's from, but we can see that it's not a race thing. Clearly, it's not a race thing. It's not people who can argue that it's a part of, black culture. This kid's black, he's a drug dealer, his dad's not there. Because he could have fallen into a different line of, different path had he actually been given help. And it's evident that he wasn't given help, and that there was. So Mr. Drew highlighted poor communications between Waltham Forest Council Social Services, Dorset Police and the Met Police. The fact that the Dorset Police didn't actually talk to anyone properly within London to say, look, we've got this kid and other kids from London, coming here, getting caught in, drug dens. What the hell is going on over here? Like, why are kids, why is this happening? And so this is squarely exists between happens. The problem here lies between these three organisations, but it could easily be different police forces and a different council. So it's not these police forces and these organisations specifically, but what we can see is that there is a problem with communications within organisations that need to be taken into account. And so I don't know if the National Crime Agency do have to create some sort of division where, if someone from Dorset Police calls them and says, look, we've got this kid from London, we found him in a drug den, what happens from here? And they take it with the Met Police and the council and say, look, there's this kid from London, this is what happened, and this is what needs to happen from here. So clearly they need to be like a higher organisation, kind of like I guess the FBI would be in America, where they go through state lines. You need an organisation that properly goes through county lines to deal with these things. And so look, let me know, I'm going to wrap it up there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. It's a very tragic death, and look, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.